Hello and welcome to the show. Today I am playing Gran Turismo 5. Now I'm going to start by saying, in fact you might even notice that I am sounding a little bit weird, I might sound a bit distant, or it might just sound different. That is because I've had to put a very bizarre setup to actually be able to record for this, because I cannot play this game on a PlayStation controller. It just doesn't work. For those of you who haven't played or haven't used a PlayStation 3 controller, I'll explain the issue to it very briefly. Basically, the triggers which you use for accelerating and braking are quite terrible, really. The way the controller is designed, the triggers sort of slope downwards, so when you press them, they're actually sloping downwards, which means your finger has a tendency to slip off them. Now, if you're playing a normal shooting game, and that kind of thing, you're probably not going to be on the left and right triggers a huge amount of time. However, in a racing game, kind of important, because you're going to spend quite a lot of time at full throttle. So yeah, that's kind of an issue with the acceleration trigger. The brake trigger also feels to me to be not particularly precise, which is kind of a big deal when it comes to Gran Turismo. I know that of course there's an element that could be one be the controller could be a little bit dodgy, that's possible, but also there's an element. I've spent however many years it is getting used to driving with 360 controllers, and I spent a few hours before I gave up with the PlayStation 1. So sure, it's an element of personal preference, but I really cannot drive with the PlayStation 1. The brake trigger is so horrible on it. So I'm having to use a steering wheel. Now, I have a Fanatic CSR wheel. It's a fairly decent steering wheel. And of course, when you're driving around, you've got all the force feedback going on. My steering wheel is kind of attached to my desk, and if I'm going around and the steering wheel's vibrating and everything, it messes up the microphone. So I've had to have the microphone in a bit of a strange position. It's a little bit awkward recording this, so if I sound a bit weird, sound a bit distant, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's because I've had to rig up my microphone a little bit differently. Anyway, on to the game. Yes, what are we going to do? We're going to do some seasonal events because I get lots of money for these. Anyway, I'm going to start. Actually, no, first thing I'm going to say here, before I say anything about this game, I'm going into this game, or I'm going into this video, and when I first played this game, with a completely open mind. No pre-misconceptions or anything about this game. I'm just going in completely open mind, almost kind of like reviewing it, because I know there are many fanboys out there who are going to say, oh, well, this is better than this, without actually really knowing. So I'm not going to have any conceptions about this game. I'm just sort of take it as it comes, and I'm going to be completely honest about this. I'm not going to say, oh, Forza's so much better than this, if it clearly isn't. But yeah, I'm going to give my honest opinions about it. But yeah, I'm not going to be biased. Not going to be biased towards the Xbox or to Forza or whatever. I just got to get that out of the way first. Now I've got to remember to do this, because this game has a really annoying habit of keeping turning on all the blooming assists. Every time I turn off the console or go off the game or whatever, when I go to load the game back up again, it wants to put traction control and ABS on. And I can't find a way of stopping it doing that. If anybody knows, could you please tell me in the comment section a way of stopping it defaulting to putting them on? Because it's really annoying, because I keep forgetting. Like, I was doing a couple of races, thought, oh, I finally got the hang of this blooming braking system, only to find I'd had ABS on the whole time because I'd forgotten it and turned it back on. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying like that sometimes. So yeah, if you do know how to turn it off, please do or to permanently turn it off, please do let me know. Anyway, let's get started talking about the game. The first thing you are going to notice about any game is the graphics. While graphics aren't necessarily important to a racing game, you can have a very, very good racing game, a very solid racing game, without the graphics being amazing. R-Factor, for example, doesn't have the most fantastic graphics in the world, but it's a very, very, very good racing game. Gran Turismo, the graphics aren't as good as Forza. It's as simple as that, really. You can try and defend it as much as you want, but it really isn't as good. To be fair, Gran Turismo is an older game. Gran Turismo 5 came out a year before Forza 4. However, the Gran Turismo 5 Prologue came out even before that, and I'm guessing this is running on the same kind of graphics engine or whatever the hell. I don't know, computer techie stuff. So yeah, it's on an older graphics engine, it's older than Forza 4. So I'm not surprised the graphics aren't as good. I mean, they're not bad, don't get me wrong, but no, visually it isn't as good as Forza 4, but that's not so important when it comes to a racing game. What is important is the driving physics of the game, especially, well, when you're doing a simulation game. It's very important, the driving physics in a simulation game. Now, a lot of people will sit there and argue, I've seen you in the comment section, arguing over what's realer, Forza 4 or Gran Turismo 5 or the various PC simulators. The truth of the matter is, none of you, or I suspect maybe one of the however many people watch this video, will actually know what it is like to drive a supercar properly around a track, or a go-kart, or whatever you might race, properly around a track. The other 99% of you, 99.5 whatever percent, won't have an absolute clue. You're just arguing over something that's completely pointless. I drive a car in real life, but I cannot tell you if this is realistic. I've never driven an Integra Type R around this particular course, so I can't tell you if this is realistic or not, and you can't either. So I'm going to base my assumptions on sort of simulator, as R Factor is the closest to reality that we have. It's probably the most realistic racing simulator that I've played. So I'm taking that as a benchmark for realism when I talk about realism in video games. Gran Turismo is pretty damn good, I have to say. Again, I've spent a lot longer on Forza. I'm a lot more used to it, so I apologise for my terrible, terrible driving. I'm sure there are going to be many of you shouting at me in the comment section for being absolutely useless. And it is a little bit unfair to compare this game to Forza in that I've spent so long practicing on Forza, I know all the ins and outs of it, whereas here I'm using a slightly different control scheme, I'm using a steering wheel, and I'm not that used to it. But it does feel pretty damn good. It does feel fairly realistic. It feels fairly close to the likes of R Factor. When it comes to actually steering the cars, the level of the grips of the car, the way the cars handle the curbs is a big thing that is better than Forza. The way the cars ride the curbs is more realistic. Now, of course, again, this is part of the fact that this game is designed a little bit for off-road racing, which Forza isn't. So on the realism front, at least when it comes to the steering and everything, that seems pretty good. The big problem, well, I say big problem, the brakes on here are very, very different. You have to brake a lot earlier for corners than you do in Forza 4. Now that's okay, that's something I can get used to. I am not really sure if that's more realistic. I don't remember this being such a thing with R Factor, but then again I haven't driven the vast numbers of cars, or should I say, the number of the cars that you drive on R Factor tend to be racing cars, so that's probably a little bit different. But no, the braking is different on here. You have to brake a lot earlier for the corners. That's something I can get used to. The one big issue I have with the brakes is the ABS. As I said about all the assists, I like to run with all the assists off, so naturally I've turned all of that stuff off, and I have remembered to this time. Oop, I got a little bit too fast into that corner. However, the ABS seems very weird on this. Now, I tend not to drive with the wheel on Forza, although I have done in the past. I don't like driving with the wheel because the force feedback is a bit weird. I'm probably have to find a settings to sort that out. But the brakes are so odd. Like, if you look down next to where it says my speed, you will see a little meter that shows you how much throttle I'm using and how much brake I am using. On Forza, you can use probably, well, of the pedal travel that I have in my steering wheel, I can probably use 75% of that before the wheels lock up. Any more than that and the wheels start to lock up. So I've kind of got used to doing that much, and I would say that's probably fairly accurate to a real race car. On here though, if you use 50%, all your wheels lock up and you have a big crash. And it seems to be the back wheels that lock up as well. If I use excessive brake pressure, you just kind of lock the back wheels up and have a spin, which seems a bit odd to me. I'm trying to use like 25% brake, or it's 25% brake movement, or pedal movement. It gets a bit confusing, but yeah, that feels very odd to me. I don't know. It's a very weird thing that goes on with the brakes of this car. I guess it's just an element of getting used to it. I'm really not doing very well in this race. It's hard to talk and race on a game that you don't really know that well. Ooh, there's a big slide. Yeah, the brakes, I don't know, it just feels odd, and it doesn't feel the likes of R Factor. It doesn't feel as good. It's an element, it's just something I'll get used to over time playing this game, I suspect. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that particular thing. The rest of it's fine. The rest of the driving physics is really good, possibly better than Forza, actual realism wise. But the brakes are odd. If you drive with ABS on, it's fine. You don't have a problem. But I don't know, it seems very odd to me. Maybe that's how cars really are. I don't know. I've never driven these cars. But it just seems a little bit off, if you ask me. Anyway, I've done particularly badly in this event because I've been talking. Oh well, I'll still get an absolute fortune, hopefully, for finishing this. Come on, car, we are nearly there. And one more gear. Oh hey, we have finished. Whew, how much money did I get? Give me lots of monies, hopefully. Come on, waiting for money. It'll be here in a minute. I got 618,000 credits for coming 7th or 6th. I'm not sure. Where did I finish? I don't know. I finished a race somewhere and I got a hell of a lot of money. Okay, so we've handled the driving physics now. Let's get on to the really good thing. The one thing Gran Turismo is absolutely fantastic about is variety. There are so many cars. From looking at the box, they reckon, well, it says on the box there are over 1,000 cars, and I believe it. There are so unbelievably large amounts of cars in here. And that's a good thing. I'll just go back to my garage quickly. It means that there are cars on here that I've never even heard of. Cars that I've never driven in a video game. Cars that I've never seen. And I like that as a car person. That's always a good thing. There are so many cars. There's such good variety. Well, I say there's such good variety of cars. There are stacks and stacks of cars. There are also stacks and stacks of skylines. There's many, many different varieties of skylines. I'm pretty sure there's about 10 different versions of the MX-5. But even with all of that, okay, that does boost the numbers of cars. But even with all of that, there are so many cars. Let's have a look at my garage. I'll have a brief show of my garage. For example, this thing. I have no clue what this damn thing is, but I won it in a race, and now I can drive it around. Where's he gone? You going to show it? There it is. You know, that's not in any other racing game. I doubt you will find a mod for it in any PC game either. It has 22 horsepower. Well, hey, there's just so much variety of cars. Oh yeah, also I've received quite a few gift cards, so thank you to people who've sent me cars. People have sent me Vipers, which is always good, and an Audi. So yeah, thank you to everybody who sent me cars. But this is just such great variety of cars. There's go-karts that you get to drive that aren't in most racing games. Then there's some all sorts of random things. There's this thing. Someone sent me this. I can't wait to do a race with these. We're going to have to get a lobby full of these and do a race for a video at some point. It's just this huge variety of cars that you get to have a go with, and that's fantastic. I love having such a huge amount of cars to look through. It means you can do silly stuff, and you can, yeah, it's just cool to have this many cars, access to this many cars to drive, and of course a lot of them that you won't have seen before in games. However, the one slight downside to this huge variety is this premium and standard car system. You see up here, these are all the premium cars. Now these are the more detailed cars. These are the cars that actually have cockpit view. This lot over here do not have cockpit view. You cannot, well, you can kind of go into a very black cockpit. You can't see anything, pretty much. It's an odd system. I think it's just because there are so many cars. I think a lot of these are kind of reused from previous games where they didn't have like cockpit view and that kind of thing. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd system. I'm not a big fan of it. But then again, if you get to drive all of these cars, it's kind of like the trade-off. For this many cars, you lose some of the detail on some of them. I kind of don't mind that system. It creates an interesting, varied game. A lot of cars to try and get through. I'm not going to complain about the lack of cockpit view and that kind of thing. I race on bonnet view anyway. So, yeah, you saw in the Will It Roll when I had, what's it, the Suzuki Alto. I've lost the blooming thing. Where's it gone? Here it is. We're going to look at this briefly. You look at the model on this car, like the graphics of the model. Yeah, you can tell it's an old model on this. Yeah, it's not fantastic. But then when you're driving around, it doesn't matter because you're on the bonnet view or you're on the bumper view or whatever. Or even if you're behind the car, it's just like the look of the car isn't that important. Particularly once you've started racing. So yeah, the great variety of cars, and that is really very good. Hey, there's a Clio. In fact, there's a Clio that's they've got all the generations of Clio except for my one. It's very annoying. Anyway, on the subject of variety, actually, what car should we get into? They're too scary. I've not got the hang of driving the really powerful cars yet. I did drive the Viper and had a big crash. Maybe not. Let's go in there. What can we go in? Let's go in the Aston Martin. Not quite as powerful. I'll jump in this thing. I don't know what we can do with it, but sure. I thought I might just be looking at the options for the foreseeable future. There's so much stuff to go through in this game. Now, track variety is also a very good thing. There's lots of different tracks. There's not quite as many real-world tracks. What have we got on here? There are a couple of ovals. You know, they're fairly standard things. There's actually quite a bit of NASCAR stuff on here. There's quite a lot of NASCARs that you can race with. Again, more variety stuff that you don't always see in racing games. There is Monza to drive about. There is weather effects as well. I'll get to that. Tsukuba, Laguna Seca, fairly standard racetracks on the most part from the real world ones. Fuji is one that I don't see in very many games. I can't think of a game I've seen outside of the Gran Turismo series. I can't think I've driven it anywhere else. Suzuka, another fairly standard one. The road course at Indy and the road course at Daytona, you don't see in that many games. I think that is in Forza, but I've never seen the road course at Daytona before in a game, at least not that I can remember. And then there's just some more variations of Suzuka and Fuji. However, there is loads of the original circuits. I guess these are the ones made up by the developers, and they're all fairly interesting tracks to drive. Now, they're all very different. I think there's a Monaco lookalike as well somewhere. I've lost the damn thing. Where's it gone? I don't know, there's a Monaco lookalike thing. I can't find it now. But there's a great variety of tracks. Where should we go? What's the track that I like? I've forgotten. There's one here. I like this track. But yeah, there's a good variety of tracks. Why have you put... Look, I told you, traction control off. I don't want you. Go away. Go away. And we'll put that on real. And there we go. So... Oh dear. Yes, there's a good variety of tracks, which is always good. There's also a track editor. Not quite sure how that works yet. I haven't really looked into that. But there is an option. There is a button for track editor. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I'll have a play around with. Yeah, I don't care about the about the fast lap times because I won't be very quick with this. I'll probably fail quite miserably. So yeah, variety in this game is really very good. And as a racing fan, I like that. I like having all of these cars to mess about with and all of these different tracks to try and drive. There are, of course, some other issues. Loading times are absolutely horrendous on this. As you saw there, it was waiting a long time, and I'm not really sure what it was loading. When you're sat waiting for a race to start, like a single-player race or whatever, it takes probably 30 seconds sometimes to actually just start the race. I don't know what it's loading. I don't know what takes it so long. It is, yeah, quite a long loading time. As far as AI, I've really gone that wrong, and I've locked it up, and now I've had a spin. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah, I haven't got the hang of the fast cars yet. I've mainly been driving, well, I've been driving in the early career events. Whoopsie. Yeah, yeah, I haven't quite got the knack of these things that are much faster. I've completely lost my train of thought now. I don't know, I just concentrate on driving briefly. Ooh, dear, we're going over here now. And we're going this way. Okay, well, yeah, I have not got the hang of this. I'm never particularly good with the steering wheel on the faster cars yet. I haven't quite got the hang of moving everything quite so quickly. Ooh, we're going sideways. There we go. You can kind of slide them a little bit. I've really completely forgotten where I was going with this with this talk about this game. I think it was something about variety. Yeah, lots of stuff to do, lots of different tracks to see and to drive around, and me to fail miserably and fight an Aston Martin around. Come on, car. I know what I'm doing. Oops. This is one of the premium cars, so as you can see, we have a cockpit view. Still, it's not quite as good, graphic-wise, as Forza. Right, I'm just going to quit out of this race, because I don't even know why I went in there. Exit, yes, we'll get out of there. Now, as far as single-player career goes, it seems a bit weird in here. It seems very oddly balanced. Now, Forza has many hundreds of races. Anybody who's tried to get the achievement for completing all of them, it takes a long time. I haven't done it yet. There are so many races to get through in Forza. On here, it's a little bit weird. Now, when we go back to the main, I actually quite like the menu screens on here. I think it's kind of cool, this whole system. There's A spec and B spec events. I haven't done anything in the B spec. I'm not quite sure how that stuff works. You order a driver basically to do stuff in B spec events. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that. Anyway, A spec events, of course, is where you are doing the driving. There are all of these various series? Yes, that's a word. Each of them have got nine events, nine championships, and these are made up of a number of races. This one here, for example, has 3 races, while this one here, which I need to win, has just the 1. So that's not a huge, it's not really as big a number of events as I was expecting from this game. I mean, I've only been playing this for a few hours now, and I've completed quite a lot of them. It would only take, I wouldn't think it would take, well, I don't know, I can't really say on the number of hours. But yeah, there's not a huge amount in this particular section. Now, I don't know if we go on to these extreme series, I don't know, whatever. If we go on these, I don't know how many events. Yeah, they're not massively long. I don't know if there's endurance racing. There probably is. Gran Turismo is well known for its endurance races. Oh, I hate endurance racing. But yeah, it's not massively long in here, and you don't actually get, or at least early on in these events, you're not really earning very much money. So just to buy a car, for example, for this one here, I need, what do I need? Where's the entry requirements? There we go. We need a car from 1979 or earlier, and to go and find and buy one that's going to be competitive in this, it's going to cost quite a lot of money. So you either have to redo one of these loads and loads of times to get the money, or you can do what I've been doing to get money. As you can see, I now have 2 million credits. You can do these seasonal events over here. Where have you gone? Come back up here. These are just some more race events, which really isn't very hard to earn money. You saw at the start I did one of these. Hold on, can we load up? Thank you. And you know to okay, we need something that fits. We need a European car that's under the limit of PI. No, performance points. That's what they call them here. We're gonna use. Oh, can we use you? Do you qualify? Yes, you do. We're getting the Clio V6. Hey, can't go wrong with this. You can do one of these events and earn huge, ridiculously large sums of money. Like, the first place here is 278,000 credits. However, the lower the performance points of your car, the more bonus you get. So if you use, like in that race that you saw I did where I came 7th and earned like 600,000 credits, if you use a slightly lower performance point card, you get huge amounts of money. It seems very oddly balanced, if you ask me. You get lots of money, which is good, so you can buy cars. But yeah, it's a strange old system. This one, it's something different. But it does seem a little bit odd to have balanced it quite like that. Now, another slight criticism I have of this game, there is an awful lot of cars, and the categorizing of the cars isn't quite as good. There's no classes. In Forza you have you have F to S class, and then you have R3, R2, and R1 and X, I think. The categorization on here is just the performance points. I think that's what it stands for. Number, and that's the only way you can categorize the cars. And the race events often, except for these seasonal events, the single player events don't really care what class your car is as long as it fits into the categories. Which meant there was one race. It was supposed to be a small, what was it? It was the European small car event or something like that, which apparently a Jaguar XJR9 race car was eligible for. That seems a little bit off, a little bit wrong to me. And again, there was an Italian event where the AI cars were all driving. That's been a terrible corner. How have you got around there? Blooming Fiat. Oh, you're the AI. Go off the road. Whoopsie, a little bit sideways there. There was an Italian event in which the AI were using sort of like Alpha, is that an Alpha 147 in front of me? They were using cars like that, basically fairly, I'd say slow. You would probably say they would be like C-class cars in Forza, maybe D-class. And that kind of thing. They were using all of them, and I could use a Lamborghini Aventador. Yeah, it's not really a challenge when you let me use that, but of course I don't have another Italian car, so I thought I might as well use the Aventador and complete things fairly quickly. I'm not having a very good race here, never mind. I will catch you, Alpha, come back please. So yeah, the categorization of cars, not quite as good, but yeah, it's something you can live with. It just means that you have some rather unevenly matched single-player races. Now, the way the cars are distributed as well is... I quite like this system, although it can get kind of irritating. Now, as I said before, there are the premium and there are the standard cars. The premium cars, I believe you can buy them from like the dealership. So you can go into the dealership, you can go through the menus, and you can buy whichever car you want. If you want, but there's only like, I don't know how many there is. Is it 100, 200, maybe, premium cars? However, of course, there's a lot more cars than that in the game. So if you want another car, like a standard car, you have to go through the used car dealership, which I'll show you in a minute. And that just kind of like randomly puts cars for sale. So if you want to buy a specific car, you have to wait a very long time for it to appear. At least that's as far as I can tell. I haven't found another way to acquire cars, other than like people giving them to you or giving them to me. And when you win events, you get given a car. That's normally something that's relevant to that event. So there is a championship race on here for the super trucks. You know, it's the Dodge Ram, the Ford Raptor, and I think it's a Toyota something or other that's eligible. But I can't do that event because I can't find a blooming pickup truck for sale anywhere. None of them are premium, so I can't buy one of them from there, and I've got to just wait for one to appear in the used car dealership. Now, like, for that kind of thing, it's kind of irritating. I like the system, though, of you can't just go and find every car kind of instantly. It means that when you do find one of those, like a rare car or a car you've been looking for a while to come up for sale, it's kind of rewarding. And also you see all sorts of random weird stuff come up that you might not necessarily look at if it was all there right in front of you from the off. So it can be an irritating system, but it's an interesting system. It's just a different system, and I think it works pretty well. Although, yeah, when you're trying to find one blooming car for a particular event, yeah, it's a little bit, yeah, a little frustrating is the word I shall use. There is a separate used car dealership for, I believe it's for classic and rare cars. I'm not sure how it works. There's two basically used car dealership. One's full of all sorts of random stuff, random standard cars. You never know quite what's going to be for sale in there. The other one has more classic cars. I've only seen it today. I only noticed it was there today, or knew what it did today, I should say, more like. And that's where I bought a Jaguar E-Type from, and that was full of classic cars when I looked, and there was like 2 race cars. So yeah, it's an odd system of delivering cars, but for a game that has so many cars, I think it works quite well. May have driven into back at Peugeot. Lock the rear brakes again. I think anyway. I think I may have assist back on again. Why have you put assists on? Yes. If you look down in the bottom corner, at least I think this is what this means, by where the acceleration and throttle thing is. And let's see if I can get it to do it. I can't get it to do it now, so I'm going fast enough. There's like a little red bar that shows you what you're doing, what you're trying to get the car to do, and the grey bar is what the car is actually doing, what the game's getting the car to do. Yeah, why is the assist back on? I swear to God I turned you off. Why do you keep turning back on? Stupid thing. I don't know why I'm locking the brakes up then, because I should have ABS on. Whee! Still going to slide. Right, where have I got? 1 lap to go. Come on, Renault. I keep forgetting to change gears. That's another good point, just thinking of sound. There is odd sound issues with this game that I don't understand. Now, I've turned this down quite a lot so you can't hear the game sounds when I'm talking. However, when you're driving normally, the game wants to try and focus the sound on the cars around you rather than your own car. So I can be in a race, I can be in a battle with a couple of cars, like here for example, I can probably hear the 206 fairly well. I can probably hear, oh, it's not close enough anymore, but if you have like 2 or 3 cars around you, you can hear the other cars. The game wants to focus its sound on them lot rather than your own car. I have had times when I cannot hear my own engine over what all the other cars are doing, which means that when I'm driving manual and everything, I can't physically hear my car. I'm having to look at the speedo. I can't find an option to stop it doing that either. Why are you focusing your sound on the cars? I don't care what the Vectra beside me is doing. It's not important to me. I want to know what my car is doing so I know when to change up and when to change down. Yeah, that's a very odd thing that I don't like. I don't know why it does it. I can't turn it off. If you can turn it off, please let me know, because that's horrible. Other than that, you know, there's many thousands of cars. Some of them don't sound as good as others. I'll forgive it that, because it's just fun driving the blooming things. Right, I've got 100,000. Yay, not much from that one. But yeah, it's quite hard to talk and drive on a game you're not familiar with, because I normally have to concentrate an awful lot on the game when I'm kind of learning it. Anyway, I should kind of come to a sort of a conclusion about this game. It is kind of unfair to compare Gran Turismo 5 to Forza 4. I know all of you guys are going to be doing it in the comment section, because our channel is mostly dedicated to Forza stuff. But yeah, it's very hard to compare them, because they are both trying to be simulation games. They both have kind of gone at it from very different approaches. Gran Turismo has just gone for huge variety. You lose some of the details in some of the cars that I showed you before, with some of the vehicle models aren't fantastic, and the lack of cockpit view in a lot of the cars. However, you do have a great variety of vehicles that you don't normally see. Let's just have a look. What have we got in the used car dealership that I can show you? Yeah, this is the way cars are delivered. On the most part, you have to find them in here and hope the car that you want comes up for sale. Is there a pickup truck? I'll be really happy if there is. Please be a pickup truck. I want a Dodge Ram or a Ford Raptor or a something. What's a oh, I know what. That's isn't that a people carrier thing? Yes, it is a people carrier thing. There we go. You do people carrier racing. Yeah, that's just so. I don't even know what you are. Ollie Motors. Let's have a look. And you are a sports car thing. Okay, cool. What else have we got? A Mitsubishi CZ Tarmac Rally car. Yeah, there's just so. Have I ever seen that before? I don't think I have. Yeah, yeah. This variety is incredible. Whereas Forza kind of focuses on maybe less cars, but all of them are very highly detailed. Out of the two, I would say Gran Turismo possibly has the slightly better handling model. I do like the way the cars drive, although the brakes, the ABS stuff, that I'm not sure about. That feels very weird to me. I guess it's something I will get used to, trying to be very delicate with the brake pedal, but that does feel like it's a little bit too sensitive on that front. Then again, there may be settings that I need to change somewhere, but I haven't. I've looked in the game settings and I can't find anything. Maybe there's something I can do on the steering wheel to reduce like the sensitivity of the brakes. But yeah, that does feel a little bit off. However, on terms of kind of overall entertainment, I think Forza is still the better. Forza is the better of the two because, well, first of all, the cars in Forza are all more detailed. You can go in cockpit view on whatever car you want, and you can drive that. The handling model may be a little bit more simplistic. I don't think there's a huge amount of difference in them though. But on Forza, I would definitely say it's more accessible. And it's kind of more fun. On here, you can't paint a car. You cannot. Well, no, tell a lie. You can change the color of a car. Have I got any cars I can? Can I change the? I can. Oh, where's it gone? Here we go. We'll go to the auto center. You can change the color of the car, but even that's kind of a weird system of unlocking them. But you can't paint the car. There's no graphics designy fancy stuff that you'll find on these cars. I believe some of them you can change them to. You can make them like into sports versions that might change the livery slightly. Yeah, you can do like racing modifications on some cars that will like add a race livery on them. But other than that, yeah, there's no customization on this. And I think, I don't know. This is how you change the colours. Whenever you buy a new car or whatever, you get given a colour. You get like given the colour on most of the cases, and then you can use that colour to turn. Yeah, it's an odd system, but okay, it's kind of functional. Although I don't really care about colours, I don't see the cars. But I think Gran Turismo. My conclusion on all of this: Gran Turismo is probably slightly a more realistic racing simulator, although the brakes are wonky, I think. That may just be that other games have got it wrong. But yeah, the brakes are confusing on here. However, as a game, Forza is a lot more fun. Forza is a lot more accessible. And yeah, overall, I think Forza still has it. Things might change with the next Gran Turismo and the next Forza. Who knows? I shall be getting both. I shall be playing both. So that could be an interesting thing, though. At the moment, my opinion, it was probably going to be different to yours. But so don't all shout and argue. At the moment, being completely fair, completely unbiased, I still think Forza has it. I still think Forza is a slightly better game. I haven't tried the online stuff on here because there is no kind of matchmaking thing. It's all done via a lobby system, which is a little bit. It's kind of, well, it's fine if you have people to race with. If you're just finding random races, it's a little bit more awkward. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you have challenges you would like to see me do in Gran Turismo, then please do let me know in the comments section, and maybe I will give them a go. There is only sort of so much I can do on here because the replays are a bit more fiddly to work with than they are on Forza. I maybe I will do a versus the community on here, but it will not be recorded in the same way that I do Forza stuff. It would have to be live recorded because, as I said, the replays are awkward to say the least to work with on here. What cool car can we finish on? It's got to be this thing. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. So yeah, please don't be too angry about my opinions on this. It's always a risky thing doing this. Anyway, until next time, goodbye.